Okay, so good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for giving us your time. We know there is a lot of competition right now with a lot of sessions going, so we feel pretty honored to have you here. My name is Daniela Jurado. I'm the EVP for VTEX. So for the ones that don't know VTEX, I'm not planning to sell, but I need to do this, right? So we are a global commerce platform. We run brands in more than 40 different countries. We do B2C, B2B marketplace, and omnichannel. And our main differentiator is the fact that we can simplify different channels by using only one backbone. And I have the honor to be here today with Finn. Everyone needs to know Finn because besides being an amazing professional, he is an amazing human being. And I feel really honored to be here with you, Finn. So thank you for taking the chance and for taking the challenge as well to share the stage with me. Would you like to say a couple of words to the audience?
Yeah, thanks, Danny. Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you again for being here. My name is Finn Robb. I'm the Chief Digital Officer, Chief Marketing Officer at Roadrunner Sports. We're a mid-sized market. We have 50 retail stores in North America and a pretty robust e-commerce business. And I'm excited to share a little bit of the story of what we've done over the past 2 years with VTEX. So thank you.
So before we go into the questions and we start talking about the case itself, I would like to just play a short video if we can, just for everyone to know a little bit more about the brand. Okay, we're having some technical issues. Okay, it's coming. Okay, thank you for that. So let's take a little risk and ask the audience about Roadrunner. This is not on script, but I just want to know who knows here Roadrunner, who has ever bought in Roadrunner Sports? There you go.
Okay.
Okay, that's
okay. Now I'm feeling more comfortable.
You didn't know I was going to do that.
No.
Okay, so when we talk about the brand itself, when I watch this video, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but what I see is a lot of sense of community. I see a lot of customer centricity. I see a lot of expertise on what you guys do. How would you define Roadrunner Sports?
Yeah, that's really our secret sauce. So we're a very experiential retailer. We're a wholesaler of brands, a house of brands, and we sell Asics, Brooks, New Balance, all of these shoes. So the challenge for us is to differentiate and be different. And for the people who've been in the stores, you've experienced that. So we won't just sell you running shoes. We will sell you custom insole shoes, socks, apparel, a VIP program. So trying to be different, and you'll probably hear that through the next half hour. That's really what we do. What we aim to do is keep people fit and active by getting them in the right shoes. Not necessarily the shoes they come in for, but the shoes that we feel are best for them and whatever they're doing, running, walking, just on their feet all day. So that's the secret sauce.
So now that we know a little bit about the brand, let's jump into the project itself. And we are here to talk about unifying the experience, right? You have a very particular physical experience. When I come into the store, it's not just about buying a pair of shoes, as you just said. You're gonna find the best pair of shoes for me. That's based on my needs. That's based on what I do. How can you translate that into the online?
Yeah, that's very difficult. And that's, I think, what we're all trying to do in the digital space is how do you replicate something that's very experiential? And the reason we started on the journey with VTEX is, our old platform was 15 years old, was end of life, and we really needed something and a solution that would allow us to build these experiences. Because in our stores, and if you go to the VTEX booth, you'll be able to experience this. We very experiential, so people who are walking you through and getting you in the right shoe. So how do you do that digitally? is a challenge. So we started on the journey, but we almost had to go backwards before we went forwards and really just re-platform and build a solid foundation with the VTEX platform. And now what we're starting to do is build on top of that with other solutions.
I love something that you said, that is going back, and that's sometimes very hard, right? There is a lot of innovation right now. There are many trends coming in, of course, AI. And many brands, many retailers, I see them going for the experience side and kind of forgetting a little bit about the foundation, the core, exactly what you said. I get it's not comfortable, like replatforming is tricky, it's hard, no one wants to jump into there right away. But can you tell us a little bit on why you did it? Why did you decide to replatform? What were the main pain points why you had to do it?
Yeah, we had a legacy system. It was ATG, it was end of life, it was very expensive, it was very difficult to do anything. Everything was a monthly build, nothing could be launched or done quickly. And what we'd done, which I think a lot of multi-channel and e-commerce brands had done, is through COVID, we'd seen this massive growth of sales and thought that maybe the new paradigm was that we were going to be e-commerce only and people weren't going to go to the stores. So we invested in a lot of technologies. We invested in a lot of solutions that we built on top of this platform that basically one day just almost stopped working. It was interesting because we had all of these tools, and when you added up the incrementality that everybody said that was being brought by all these tools, it was more than the total sales of the company. So it was like, so we literally started stripping some of these things away and making the tough choice. It's easier to do as an independent, family-owned business. We make the decisions ourselves, and the owners and founder of the company decided to make that investment and know that it was replatforming. This was my fourth replatforming, and they're all complicated and difficult because as much as we think we know about our businesses and the integrations, we didn't have particularly good documentation and those things. So having the VTEX team and Pivotry, our SI, was a big part of it.
You don't know what you don't know, right? That's what we always say when we start a migration. There is something very particular about the process and the way that you guys replatformed. In the past, and before doing the replatform itself, you're starting decoupling, right? Your legacy solution. So this is what many retailers are calling the long-hanging fruits, right? I need to show results. If I am private owned or if I have a private fund, I need to show results in the short term. So they usually go for front-end changes, right? Like I start changing my CMS, I start changing my search, and I get some results. That's what you guys did. So can you tell us about the results you got and results you didn't get? Because my point is, that's not enough, right? Like you still have the core, you still have the legacy, you still have the dependency. So what is that you didn't get by doing that and then force you to actually replatform?
That's a really interesting question because the front end.
It's a script, I know.
No, it's great though because the front end migration happened before I got there. So we went headless, and I think again this is back to this whole idea of we were constrained by the core platform ATG, and we thought the solution was to go headless and add all of these different solutions. But what it got us is not a lot other than a lot more complexity. So now we add integrations to a front end as well as an e-commerce platform, as well as a back end, as well as a POS. So the decision to do that and the pain that we found ourselves in almost led us to the strategy we have now, which is, let's simplify, let's go more vanilla, let's not customize things. E-commerce doesn't necessarily need to be that complicated. It's product pages, cart, and checkout. And so we'd kind of got lost in this whole, the business doubled, the e-commerce business doubled over a couple of years during COVID, and we thought that we were going to have $1 billion e-commerce business, and the reality is we probably won't for the next few years. So the strategy we did it, and again it was tough to do, but we did 180 degrees. We said this is not the solution, and now our roadmap with VTEX is actually to take away and strip out a lot of things and not add and use much more native functionality.
Okay, that's very good to know. And also when we're talking about replatforming, there are always trade-offs. There is something you cannot do, there is something you don't have the time to actually do. And in your case, again, the experience is very important. So what were the things that you really couldn't agree not to have in the online experience?
So So most of our customers are loyalty members, and we have a paid loyalty program. So the one thing we couldn't compromise was that the fact that people can earn and spend rewards cash and see their balances, and it drives pricing. So it's almost like a B2B model. And again, so a lot of the core functionality that there was within VTEX is what sort of like brought us to choose you guys as a partner. But that was the one thing. And then the customer experience, again, what we saw is we're seeing, a faster site, a better customer experience, and we'll talk about some metrics at the end. But really, that it had to work for our loyalty customers and our returning customers, and it had to work omni-channel. And so, one of the things we see is, somebody comes into the store, they're looking at their rewards cash balance on their phone as they're getting to the store. It has to be the same number when they get into retail, or vice versa.
How was the loyalty integration? Because we still hear a lot of retailers complaining about the lack of synchronization between loyalty points, and if I am customer, I need to be a 360 degrees customer.
That's our biggest challenge, and I think a lot of the complexity, and so as we talked about just a moment ago, having a separate front end is just another place, a fourth place that I need that synchronicity to happen. And so it's challenging. It's challenging because customers expect it real time, and they expect if they've placed an order in store and they go home and they want to add something, that they're already seeing the rewards cash. So that's our biggest challenge, moving that data around the company.
And you made an kind of affirmation before. You said commerce doesn't need to be complex, like commerce should be simple. But in your case, we're also talking about a multi-brand website. Does it make it harder? Does it doesn't really change the operation?
It makes it harder in retail. It definitely makes it harder in terms of setting up product on the site. There is no centralized place where all of these big brands come together and give us a unified product information. So we have to do a lot of work up front in order to make it seamless for the customer, because the customer wants to see our information displayed in the same way, but we certainly don't get that from the brands. It's happening a lot more now as a lot of the running shoe brands are going into direct to consumer. They understand it a little bit more, but up until the last few years, we would receive information, like on Excel forms, and they'd give us PDFs and tell us to scan them. It was the Wild West for sure.
Can you drive us a little bit through the navigation experience? Like when I go into the website, what are the hardest parts for you? Is it the search, the discovery? Is it the PDP? Is it the checkout itself?
So checkout is right now our biggest challenge. So when we migrated, we very deliberately didn't change a lot of the checkout experience. We wanted that to remain the same. And then right now we're going through a change, and we're actually implementing one of your partner products, a product called Ollie Shop. The executive team were a little bit shocked when I told them in November, just straight after a replatforming, that we were going to build a new cart and checkout. And they said, look, I think we can do this pretty quickly. We signed a deal on probably just before Thanksgiving, and we'll deploy it on the 3rd of February. And again, what we had was this very clunky experience, not your checkout, but our experience flow. And we're able to strip this back and become, a much more simplified, easy to understand. Checkout shouldn't be difficult. I remember back 20 years ago, we all thought we were going to design different checkouts that would work for the customer. And the reality is they're very used to how a checkout works, and you need to just follow that flow. The other thing that it's going to give us is our checkout was a black box on ATG, and there was no funnel. So if you left us in checkout, we had no idea. But with Ollie Shop, we're very excited to be able to see the experience and where people are falling out.
Okay, that's amazing. Could you make any spoiler about how much is going to change? What exactly we're going to see in the checkout? I
think what you will see is a very normal checkout, and not something that's got steps and flags and banners and things that try to upsell you this and that. It's like, let's just get you through the process. And so I think it's sexy, but I think it's sexy because it's just absolutely clean and simple. And again, that's our strategy. And so we're not overcomplicating it. The beauty of the product is it has all of the features and functionality that we can add in later. But as we A/B test it through launch, And we think there's probably at least a 5% increase in conversion.
Okay.
It more than pays for itself, and then we'll start to layer in.
Okay, that's a good number for sure. Now let's talk a little bit about change. Like usually when you do a replatform and when you start adding products, like even the Oli checkout that you were mentioning, people are scared about change, right? Like even your teams. What did actually change for your team when you decided to change completely the tech stack?
Yeah, fortunately, the way we architected it, not a lot changed for the team members who use it in retail stores, the team members who use it in the call center and those things. So that was very deliberate. Where the change came was in product setup, product build, development, all of these things that could be done very quickly, very easily, that before were very manual and took a lot of time from a lot of people. We had a product build process that took 45 days. So we couldn't even do it in a month. We had somebody in and he mapped out, and I probably couldn't get our product design process on this board behind me. It was so overly complex. So then we were able to start to break that down. And again, with the development, on a legacy platform, and anyone who's been in e-commerce for a long time remembers those days of when it was big builds that were delivered. Like it was crazy. So, and then we reduced complexity and also costs. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of cost was stripped out by implementing the VTEX platform. The return on investment was a year to 18 months.
That's amazing to hear. Now that you talked about the changes, can we talk a little bit about results? I don't know how much you can share, but can you tell us a little bit of the outcomes that we got from all this replatforming and all this digitalization?
Yeah, so a lot of great results. And as I say, with the checkout, we think it'll be even better. Two of the key metrics that we were looking at was, how many people would sign up to become a VIP, because that's very important to us in our business model. It drives loyalty, retention. And so what we saw was it was a 37% increase in people who signed up. And then the VIPs, their conversion on the site was 23% higher. Wow. And these are big, significant, this adds a lot of zeros. So these were big numbers. And then the other ones that we're very excited about was we actually doubled our NPS score on the web.
Wow.
So we got it up. In store, we're run around about 72, which is world class. Our online NPS now is up to 48. So again, super happy and super excited because, those customers who are happy are gonna come back. So, better than expected results. I don't think anyone goes in and talks about 20s and 30% increases. We certainly didn't tell that to the team when we asked for the investment.
I was going to ask you that, like, if you make a comparison in terms of the KPIs that you had before the project and after the project, what's the difference?
Just like the experience is so much better for the customers. So they are, they're finishing the process. They were frustrated before, by the amount of time it took, by the navigation, by the inability for them to use their rewards cash effectively. So that's the big difference, and they're voting in conversion numbers, but also with the NPS as well, which is a number that we track.
Can we talk a little bit about future? And my question goes to, okay, once the replatforming is done, once you make all these changes in terms of customer experience and the tech stack and so on, what are the opportunities that were unlocked by that?
So what I envision is fairly bold. I think what we want to do is, again, we have this very experiential. We have a fit expert that will walk you through an experience in a store. That's what I see for the web. I think that's what we want to deliver, is something where this concierge service that may include digital shopping assistants, may include AI and those sort of things, but the ability for somebody to go in and be fit in the right pair of shoes. So, but we still have some unbundling to do. I think we'll probably migrate away from a headless solution. Wow. I don't know that we need that level of complexity. We know, the fast store solution that you guys operate on, and I think that's what we want to do. That's a whole set of integrations that we have to maintain and keep and pay for that probably don't add any real value, just a lot of complexity. site search and all of those things. So there's a long roadmap. We keep, I call it pivoting, but probably changing and deciding on other ways we can go. But I think what you'll see in the future is something that's much smoother for the customer. If you want to, in the running space, a lot of people know exactly what shoe they want. They want to come, they want to land on a product detail page, add it to cart, and check out and leave. And so we don't want to get in the way of that process. But a lot of people don't know what they want, and they're intimidated to go into stores because they're embarrassed. They don't know what kind of shoe they want. They're just starting on a running journey or a health and fitness journey. So the web plays a very important role in that. We have more people who come into the stores today who are a little bit older and more walkers than runners. And then right now a little bit more runners online, but we'd like to make that more accessible to people.
That was very disruptive. You're comment about probably we don't need headless anymore. Probably you're one of the few people saying that during NRF. Again, completely off a script. This wasn't planned. I didn't know you were gonna say that, but now I need to go deeper on that. You did it. You started with a legacy solution. You decoupled the legacy solution, but you kept the legacy solution. And then you changed the legacy solution, but you were still headless. And now you wanna go back on that.
Yep.
Tell us why, and tell us what is that you expect to get from that?
Less complexity, as I say. If you think about the integration between VTEX and this headless, we have to keep it all in sync. We don't need that. We don't. CMS, search, all of those things. Again, e-commerce is simple. It's product, page, cart, and checkout. Those things need to work, and then you layer experience around it. But yeah, I think if we had it over, we probably would have done the whole thing at once. The complexity, the difficulty that we had in this integration wasn't integrating VTEX into our Oracle solution or syncing with app. It was syncing with our own front end, with our own headless solution that was the complexity. So we'd created this beast.
I think we're gonna get a big quote at NRF page after this.
I'd probably get banned.
And of course, we need to talk about AI. That's the topic of the moment. And I think the audience will get very disappointed if I don't ask the question. So what is it you guys are doing in AI, if any, and where do you see the value coming from AI?
It's interesting. So we as a company, we embrace AI. We use it in everything from product copy to creative. We are launching chat that's using AI in order to try and do it. But our strategy will be more I'm more interested in what VTEX is doing with AI and how we will leverage your tools rather than me building my own solutions. Again, I can imagine lots of ideas, but I will embrace with partners. And so we're looking for partners who are leveraging AI, and then we will leverage their solutions rather than, Roadrunner Sports does not need to be creating AI products, I don't think.
Okay, that's good. So we are running out of time, so we're gonna have some time for questions. We're gonna open it up again, off a script. We didn't talk about this, but I know you're gonna be fine. So if we can just have a mic and maybe open for some questions. Okay.
Thank you, Danielle and Finn. One question I had for you is, as a former athlete who used to run a lot, I played soccer, and I tore my ACL 2 years ago. How do you plan on advising people who are interested in running, to find the best shoes for different injuries, different things like that?
Yeah, so in the stores, our fit experts will take you through a process. So they'll scan your feet. They'll ask about the miles, the distance you do, the pain and that you have. A lot of the pain solutions that we provide are actually in a custom insole. So that's how we develop it. And there's a lot of training around the shoes. Again, a lot of shoes now today coming very cushioned, not necessarily good for everybody. I wear a very cushioned pair of shoes, but I wear a stability insole because I have knee pain. And so, we spend a lot of time doing that. And so that I could see as something that, in the future where AI could play a part in a digital experience by being able to have that conversation and understand, you and your injuries. And again, But it's interesting because if you go into one of our stores, it's not full of runners. You know, it's not these long, you know, skinny, healthy people with, you know, 8% body fat. It's people like my mum and dad who want to walk the dog every day and just need a comfy pair of shoes. I can't tell you how many nurses we sold Hoka to, but I don't think there's a nurse in North America who doesn't wear a pair of Hokas these days.
And by the way, whoever wants to see a little bit of the experience, you can come to our booth 5157. We have a sneaker lab experience for retailers. You need to qualify, of course, for the experience, but you can do the test, and you can also get some sneakers from Roadrunner Sports.
New Balance and the custom insoles.
Yeah. Any other question from the audience? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Okay. So I think we're going to give the audience 4 minutes back. Is that okay, Finn?
Yeah.
Or anything to add to finalize?
No. Oh.
Okay.
I'll ask a question. Finn, replatforming, it's always hard on the team and the amount of energy your team has to spend on it, right? And that takes away focus from other things. As a leader, how did you manage that investment costs, and how did you handle the decision making around stripping, because that affects the team's understanding of what they need to do as well?
Yeah, it was, fortunately, as I say, this was my fourth replatform, so I was very hands-on. We had the partners and the governance, but really the key was to maintain the scope. Like, I think when things go south, it's because you make compromises in the scope, and we were very strict and said we need to get this replatforming done. And we had a parking lot, and we built that parking lot. But yeah, it was tough on the team. We were in, you know, you remember the old war room scenarios. We were in war rooms with images on the wall, and, you know, and we didn't leave until we solved the problems. We were very fortunate. Pivotry, our partner, had a really good team in Brazil. And a lot of the times it was great because we would discover a problem at 5, 6 o'clock at night. You know, by the time we came in the next day, the Brazilian team already had the solution and were already working on things. So it was a great partnership. But yeah, heavy on the teams, but the VTEX team, Pivotry team, and our team together were solid.
Okay, we have one more.
Hi, Finn. Hi, Daniela. Thank you. A quick question about your VIP membership program. And also, if you could just speak to how stellar your VIP program is as well. I think that would be great for everyone in the room. Lots of discounts on those shoes, people. Really good. But what are you doing to boost membership? I know you said it went up 37% after the web changes. That's amazing. And what are the other things you're doing to boost membership right now?
So, you know, it's interesting. Thank you for the question, because we're probably one of the best kept secrets in the running industry. People don't know about us. So when you come to our site, you know, our conversion rate, which I can't share with you for an e-commerce site, is stellar. You know, like it's unworldly. Our conversion rate in our retail stores, no one comes to the retail store and doesn't buy. You know, we convert people to shoes, socks, and insoles. So you come in for a $150 pair of shoes, you leave with about $350 worth of product. And, you know, if you are running, walking, or if you have pain in knees, hips, back, and whatever, and don't want to spend $1,500 on orthotics, you know, our custom insoles are great, but it's the secret. So really the key to this is actually just awareness. It's driving people to the site. And then the other thing now that we can load product a lot quicker, and we can also increase our product. We were fairly narrow for an e-commerce business. We were pretty narrow on assortment. You know, we would probably own of a line like this that has 11 shoes. We would probably only stock 4 because we couldn't physically load the product quick enough. So being able to load the product gives us a bigger assortment, which is what the customers want, a bigger choice.
Okay, right on time. We have 40 seconds left. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining us. And whoever wants to talk to Finn or myself afterwards, we're going to stay here for a bit. Thank you so much.
Thank you.